Hello out there. This is Rob Morales, RCO Network, coming at you live here on a Monday Market 15, the 30-minute show that takes 15 minutes. No. It's 15. I screwed up. I was on this rant and rave about getting here. Anyway, with me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the most exquisitely divine, the one you can put on the head of a pin just because she looks like a Tinkerbell, Miss Ashley Perkins.
As I'm sitting here with this dirty ass hat on that I've literally owned for probably, 16 years. I know this for a fact because I got this hat when Ryder was born, and he turned 16 yesterday. So
he was actually born with a hat on through your vaginal cortex.
Well, no, right when he came out. This is the truth. He comes out, and his whole dad's side of the family is from where what is that? New Hampshire.
I have no idea.
Area, whatever. So they, instead of getting him a little beanie that they put on your baby when you first come out, he had a Boston Red Sox hat on, and then they gave me this hat. So we had matching hats while we were in the hospital. So
that's got some history. So I started with my Tom Skilling voice. So anybody from the greater Chicago area would know Tom Skilling. He does sound like that. So here at the top of the hour, we're at Market Monday 15.
Yeah, we are.
The 30-minute show that takes 15 minutes.
No, the 15-minute show that takes
as much as we like to talk about childbirth, we're here to talk about Phoenix housing. Miss Miller Perkins.
Oh, yes.
I'm still getting used to the Perkins part.
Me too.
Yeah.
It'll grow on me eventually.
It's grown on you.
Yeah.
It's officially.
I know. I got a new name tag.
I know.
I'm so fancy.
So anyway, we're here to talk about Phoenix housing. So if everybody's noticed, we weren't here last week. Unfortunately, we had a show to do, which was very successful. So I appreciate everybody that came out to our networking event last Thursday. How'd you like everything, Miss?
That was by far one of my favorites.
That was my favorite too.
Yeah. It was awesome. I loved it.
So we're going to be having another event October 20th. So if you guys want to buy our tickets early, they're on sale, but we'll talk more later. But we're here
Today,
in the Phoenix. Yes. Is there anything you want to start with, Miss?
Well, you did mention as of today, we found out over 300 people a day are moving to Arizona.
Okay, well, I guess we're starting there.
Yeah. Well, I
started that article there.
I bring it up because it's confusing me why people want to move here.
So this article, we pulled this a little bit earlier. So why are experts saying Arizona housing market is on a precipice? Do you know what precipice means, Miss?
No, I actually don't. I'm usually very well with my words.
I had to look it up.
It
means we're on the edge. We're on the edge of something. I don't know if it's good or bad. We're on the edge of, I don't know what. And as you can tell, you're in the housing market. You work in title. I work in real estate. What is the general sentiment you're feeling right now regarding the housing? And I'll kind of tie it back to the article.
How am I feeling?
Yeah, how's the market going your way?
Well, the interest rates are scary.
Horribly, yes.
I also know that there's going to be probably over 23,000 homes. There was 23,000 foreclosures actually filed. They kept talking about it. Now it's official. So that means there's going to be a lot more houses that are available, and hopefully to us as consumers and not hedge funds or heavy investors. That would be really nice to. Well,
there still are investors, but I don't think the investor prices of purchases they're making right now really make sense for the rental rates. I'll get to rental rates in a second, but based on this article, we do have 300 people still moving to Arizona.
We're going to have more homes.
We don't have any more. Actually, a lot of the home buyers. So the very funny thing is today I got a text from a new build. It was one of the agents out in the new build market, whatever, and I won't tell which name it was, but they reached out and said, "Hey, for all agents, 4% commissions for anybody that bring buyers in right now," which is unheard of. Lennar, or was it Lennar? Lennar back about 5-6 months ago basically said, we're not giving commissions to you agents because, we're just so busy. We got all these people coming in and we don't need to give you guys any commissions.
This is so confusing and ass backwards. We have all these people moving here.
Damn bass ass.
Where the hell are they moving to then? If new home builds are struggling, we're struggling to sell the homes that are currently on the market. It's taking taking longer. I'm trying to understand what's going on.
Well, new builds are impacted because there is a lot of negative sentiment regarding housing. Whether or not people can afford it is one issue. People have concerns whether or not they're going to be able to afford the payment later on because of the recession. I mean, there's so many factors in there. It's like, well, I don't know where I'm going to be, 9 months from now when that house is built.
Fair.
And so, and then plus prices are coming down. So I've also seen articles where people are canceling their contracts and losing the $5,000 to $10,000 they just put into
the earnest money
because the price of the home, the value of the home has gone down $20,000-$30,000.
And so now that we're talking about the new home build, how are they factoring that in when you buy a house through home build? Let's call it $400,000, but then the value actually goes down. Then what happens? Because lenders are not going to lend
correct
over the value of the home. So
that is one of those things that when it comes to new builds, they don't necessarily follow the same or similar market around them.
Right.
So they'll typically get a lot of appraisals. I mean, when you put a new build in an obscure area, the appraisers that do go out there will kind of it'll be the starting point. But over time, if those new builds start lowering the prices on those homes, then it affects the other appraised prices on the other homes that eventually are made. So they offer a lot more incentives rather than price reductions. And so I haven't really seen any new builds actually reduce their prices, but I have seen a lot of incentives, like that one with the buyer's commission. Right. So a 4% versus a common 3 is the one that they usually throw out there. But they'll also throw out like $10,000 in flooring. They'll also throw out like refrigerator, Express Homes.
Express.
It's a subsidiary or something. But anyway, there was a new build out in Florence at one point that was offering backyards, complete backyards. So rock, trees.
That's where everyone's moving.
Oh boy.
Probably Florence.
Florence Coolidge.
Well, they moved the prison.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. They took the prison out of Florence and moved it. Now people are actually wanting to move out. That's where all these people are going.
Not Morristown? What?
No, somebody called me, not you, because you've called me that, but somebody else called me about it.
Yeah.
And I just have to laugh, and I still wish to this day that I would have invested. And I'm very happy that I bought when I bought, and you bought when you bought, because these rates, as I'm looking at them, they make me like want to vomit.
Am I pulling those up?
Yeah, if you want to.
So I'm going to pull up average rates in Arizona right now for a $500,000 home, 5% down. With a 760 credit score, it's roughly just under 6%. So you have to buy down points. I don't know any investor, purchasing these at the highest peak at 6%.
No, but do like an average person's credit score is typically 680. 6.6.
So I mean, who knows? I don't know who can afford this stuff. So looking at, I would say comfortably, and I guess this is based off of my mortgage payment now, and my mortgage payment right now is $2,300 for our primary house, and I feel that's very comfortable. Yeah. In terms of like when we bought in October, we were at just over 3%. So obviously, the house price is a little bit different, but looking at pricing today, if I was to buy, or if I had a spending limit of $2,300 a month, this is what I can afford right now. Let's do this. $300,000. Do you see any houses out there for $300,000?
Florence.
I don't even think they're in Florence.
Apache Junction. I have no idea. This is where I'm like.
It's like condos, man.
Like mind blown, because when our payment's about a little bit more than yours, like 24, almost 2,500, right?
Yeah.
And that's comfortable.
Yeah.
And renting the average rent right now is $2,300 in Arizona. So
I'll pull that up too.
I'm trying to understand how are people going to actually afford this? Like, because the average income in Arizona for a household is what, $58,000? That's not sustainable.
No. And so as many people that are coming in, it's like, where are people going to go? So as far as like aggravating these prices between rental and purchasing, it's just going to increase more, I believe. Again, this is, people aren't leaving enough. They're definitely coming here more. I wouldn't say we're more affordable than certain areas, because eastern, coastal cities are seeing more of kind of those price decreases. I mean, I think the median price, I didn't write it down. No, actually, the median price nationally is $389,000.
Nationally.
And here in Arizona, I think I got it somewhere.
It's for.
I think I got it somewhere.
For something.
Let me pull up this real quick. Yeah, it's just insane what's going on out there, and it's really not affordable. Median sales price. Here we go. So in Arizona right now, I pulled just single family residence is normal. We're looking at 510,000.
Holy shit!
In July, you can see it's going down.
No, it is. It's just so you being a real estate agent. What is your advice to people right now? Do they rent? Do they buy? Do they save their down payment? Like what would you give advice to somebody besides getting their credit score? Because you can see if your credit score is 780 versus 680, that's a huge jump.
I mean, that's all relative based on your situation. Everybody always tends to ask me my advice for I guess to answer their question, whatever. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it's all relative based on your situation. If you're transitory, if you're just coming in and you're peeking around trying to find, housing, you're from a different state or different area and you're not sure where the market's going to go, renting might be good in the short term. In the short term, meaning just a year, to kind of see where the direction the housing market goes. There are people that I know that sold their house last summer and with the anticipation that the prices will go down. Are they going to get screwed on the interest rate? Potentially, because the interest rate keeps going up. Well, so is there a good or bad time to buy assets? There's never a bad time to buy.
No, never a bad time to buy an asset.
It's just looking at, what kind of rate of return, what kind of, what are you going to get out of it at the end of the day? Are you going to get pure joy and pleasure, or are you buying it for a rental in the future?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say, because I don't think that people should be afraid of the interest rate because again, you say you're buying an asset. I mean, your home will always be worth something to somebody. Yeah. And you can refinance when rates go down. So yeah, you might struggle or have a higher payment now, but know that you have the ability to refinance. I'm assuming that rates are, it's all ebbs and flows. Even if you keep your house for 7 years, it's statistically proven that the rates will take a huge shift every 7 years. Well, I know I'm keeping my house for, probably forever.
Yeah, people point to the 10-year Treasury to kind of indicate that at some point we're going to go into negative rate territory. I don't foresee that. I mean, we brought it down to zero, and that was enough stimulus to cause all this inflation. But I don't see a negative rate necessarily. But who knows? I mean, we need to stimulate growth in our economy. Houses are a big portion of that. As you sell a house, I mean, there's so many things connected to it. There's title companies, there's lenders, there are real estate agents, there's home inspectors, there are, termite people, there's appraisers. There's so many different industries tied into a home purchase that, if we don't sell houses, we're going to be negatively impacted. I mean, that's just a huge chunk of our GDP.
Well,
is that too much of a pill?
No, I just had this thought in my head about, I'm like,
too many thoughts.
Buying land, putting an RV on it, because you're saying all this, and I'm thinking this in my head. I'm like, that doesn't help anybody.
Well, and yes, I've actually got a lot of questions like, hey, we want to buy land, and the next thing is like, well, what do you want to use it for? 90% of the people out there don't ever put a house on there, even if they do. I mean, it's a lot of work, and then on top of it, it's like, well, where's the water coming from? And where's the electricity? And I would say water is more important than electricity. Electricity you can generate from a generator. Right. You go buy gas anyway for your car, so you're going to end up buying gas for a generator. But when it comes to water, if there's no well, if there's no constant source of water, then you have to haul that shit, and nobody's hauling that.
Oh, yeah. No,
and I've sold a house with hauled water, and that was the biggest distract unless you collect rainwater. But if you live in Arizona, there's
not much rain.
The 3 days out of the year that you get rain, I mean, you might collect something. But.
I'm curious if anybody who's watching and has any comments about how you guys are feeling about the interest rates, how you're feeling about this market, and where do you think all these people are? I mean, if that's 300 a day, that's a lot of freaking people.
I mean, there's people leaving and coming, but at the same time, we keep having ingress of people. People keep coming here, probably for the Perkins, of the world. I don't know. They come to see you, Ash.
Would you right now buy a home as an investment currently right now?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the ROI. So I did want to purchase a townhouse from a client of mine. Mm-hmm. She had done everything, like the brand new air conditioning. She had redone the kitchen. She had redone the bathroom. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, negotiating, rental rates. Mm-hmm. I would have come out about $200 a month ahead.
That's okay.
But the people in my life basically said no. So I put the kibosh on that. We were trying to buy a house.
I know.
But, so I will say people in your life do get in the way, but hey, for good reason.
Yeah, and I want to mention to always be cognizant, watch out. Like if you're renting in a neighborhood, pay attention to what's happening. For example, this morning I get a knock on the door.
Yeah.
Open up and it's a gal, and I'm like, hi. And she's like, can I use your phone?
Oh.
And it was so weird. It reminded me of like my childhood, like when people would knock. She locked her purse in the house or in her car. I don't even know. But actually the house itself. So this is how this all came into fruition. She used the phone, called her husband, was like, hey, sorry, I locked everything. And I think it was her car or her house. It wouldn't make sense. Cute. Anyway, so the actual house.
Listening to me. What? Never mind.
But the mom died in May. And I didn't notice because she was an older lady, and she didn't really come out and pay attention. Yep. So it was the daughter that came over, and they're cleaning up the house and, taking care of it. I just thought somebody new moved in because they had a nice new Tesla outside. I'm like, okay. And come to find out that they're doing it and they're going to sell it. And I was like, I know rates are high, but it's literally across the street from my house.
Yeah.
I could buy it now, even though rates are high, turn it into a rental, even if it's a wash.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. So
yeah.
Purchasing, I'm not afraid. I'm not fearful of these rates. I'm not fearful of the market price. The rates are going to always be malleable and fluctuate. Prices, in my opinion, are going to steadily go up. I mean, it's statistically proven.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lindsay said she's scared shitless right now. I mean, a lot of people are, and that's the general sentiment. And
what are we afraid of, though?
The unknown. I think people are afraid of that, not having enough money, is the primary one, and to make the mortgage payment. But that's going to happen regardless whether you're renting or buying. I mean, if you can't make the mortgage payment and you're renting and for some reason you lose your job, you're not going to be able to make the rental payment.
Yeah.
And you'll get evicted. I mean, there's really no positive end necessarily if you're worried. There's only, it doesn't make sense. Is it strategic? If you purchase a home, you could definitely leverage off one of the rooms and rent it out. I mean, if you're concerned about your mortgage, there's so many different variables that I will say overall owning assets is something that you can leverage off on. Mm-hmm. If you are renting, you can't leverage off that.
Well, I find it intriguing that more people are willing to drop a ton of money in the stock market and lose it. You don't get that back. Versus dropping.
I don't know about recently. I mean, I've sold some shit. Luckily, before the big.
Don't even get me started. I didn't. I'm like so pissed at myself.
I only have 4 stocks left, man, and they're all like under 50%.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother.
That's a Finance Friday show. She's flubbing on her F words. Anyway,
but so renting.
Yes, we're looking at Phoenix housing. We're about 20 minutes in, so we got a couple more minutes left. We always go back to the supply-demand index.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, if you follow the channel, if you follow us, you'll notice that the demand index has just been waning and waning, turning red. Will Robinson, we officially red. And you can kind of see the supply index is shortening. And I will pull up supply in a second here.
So what the hell is happening with these 23,000 foreclosures? Where are they going? Are they being bought up?
Who knows? I haven't seen any foreclosures though. But I can pull that chart up in a second. But as you can see here, the supply in the Phoenix market's gone up 2.6%. And if you look, every one of these dips, if you see these little dips here, that's June, July. That is our summer season, selling season. So you'll see July, June, July. Mm-hmm. These little dips, June, July. This is not a little dip in June, July. So this is really unprecedented as far as the direction of where our market's going and where the supply is. We're matching supply back from close to like 2019. So we're getting back to a supply of prior to COVID.
How many houses are in the market right now? Did you pull up that?
Oh, how dare you ask? Yes. Somewhere over here.
Dude, look at the camera right now. Your creepy thing.
I got a creepy thing. Oh, is it watching me?
That is so creepy. Look at it.
All right. All right. We're trying to share the message, Miss Perkins. But no, we're looking at about 14,000 homes on the market right now, active and coming soon. So
that's just in the metropolitan area.
Yeah, at the beginning of this year, we're looking at 2,300. So we've grown as far as supply goes, and so I can see why people are concerned. Where this market's going. Nobody's buying houses, but we're also limited by supply too. So if you go back to that supply, the market index, you're still seeing it's a seller's market.
Well,
if we have 300 people coming in, we still have a seller's market.
Will you go back to that where it's showing us how many homes are in the market? Because that's just in our area. What about all of Arizona?
Homes on the market? Oh, all of Arizona?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I only have the MLS for Phoenix.
Well, I guess because it's different county.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, yeah, I will retract your statement because I'm limited by.
Yeah, but I am curious about it because if people are moving, they could be moving to
Timbuktu.
I was going to say bungfuck, Egypt, but which would be like
the vulgarity on the show is just out of control
like
today.
Greer or like who knows? I want to know where they're going.
I don't know either. So if anybody wants these comments, let us know where you're going. I do have clients going to Oklahoma because there are. I guess it's cheaper environment. Whether or not they can find work or not. I mean, Oklahoma City is kind of a weird. There's nothing there. I've been to Oklahoma City, and the downtown area is almost like vacant buildings.
It's not a place I would want.
They were offering like $10,000 if you go and live in Oklahoma. I think it was Oklahoma City, offering $10,000 to prove that you worked remotely or something.
Really?
Something like that. Yeah, it was like it's some $10,000 incentive just to move there.
I would love to move to Montana.
Why?
I don't know. It's just pretty.
Oh.
But unfortunately, I have kids, so I got to wait quite some time. But I'm just trying to think of all the different places that are just so beautiful. Like, why are people leaving there and coming here?
I don't know. But, looking at the chart again, we're looking at days on inventory. So days, if you're selling your house in the next, couple days or next month or so, we're looking at about a 30-day days on market right now.
Are you having challenges with any of your sellers with not being more flexible with pricing?
I have the discussions, and there's still a couple people that are holding on to, let's list it really high, and that's not the current environment right now. I will take a chance just to see, but so much and more often am I seeing price reductions right now, and I think buyers are kind of anticipating that. They're definitely holding on. I mean, there's a few out there, and we do get showings, but. Usually opening weekend will be the kind of telltale whether or not you have a good offer price or a good list price. If you don't get like 40 people that first weekend, you're probably overpriced. Especially like the one house in Surprise I listed, we got like one showing.
Yeah,
like the first weekend. It's just like.
So for sellers listening right now, I mean, what one of the fun things that you said is like if you don't have at least 40 people, then they really need to start thinking about what the value of their home is really worth.
Well, it's about not being so aggressive. It's actually looking at the numbers. And so what I've been looking at right now are pending sales. Mm-hmm. So dollar figures in your square footage and within your price range and looking at the turnover. So let's say your house in comps, because comps are historical. Comps look at the last 6 months. If your house is appraising or closed at around $500,000, if the similar size house closed at $500,000, and your actives are $450,000, and the turnover, the pendings, and the under contracts are $400,000. It just depends on how quickly you want to sell. Do you want to sell tomorrow? List it at $400,000. If you want to hold on to the market and kind of see what's going on, be competitive and do $450,000. But it's definitely not that $500,000. And I'm seeing so many appraisals right now that are coming in lower than what or higher than what the list price is or the contract price.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's good.
There was one we got into contract for $335,000, and the appraisal came back last week at $350,000, and I'm like, oh, you're walking into a situation, and that happened twice last week.
But that's great.
Yeah, well, it's great for the buyer.
The buyer, yeah.
And hopefully that positive equity sustains.
It's nice to see buyers at least get something now.
Yeah, and it was great news to share. Hey, you're walking into $15,000 equity. On the other one, it was $5,000. So it's great news to tell. And I think the next 2 months, really, because we have the snowbirds coming in. So mid of August, you start seeing an uptick. So that peak, let me go back to that one chart real quick. See if I can find it. I have a plethora of windows open, Miss.
Yes, you do.
So if I go back to this one chart where it's talking about month supply, you'll see, like I said, those peaks or those valleys in June and July happen pretty consistently every year. So we have a drop in inventory, people putting their house on market less. So you have that drop in inventory, June, July, and then it picks up around January. So you have this slight uptick for the snowbird season. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a little bit of dip in November, December because everybody's holiday shopping. Or in this case, probably this year, no shopping because we don't have any money to buy nothing.
Seriously.
But you do have these. This is your selling season right here. It starts, what about September, October, peaks out around January, and then you sell off all the supply, and it just comes back. You see a very consistent wave of peaks in January and valleys in July. Mm-hmm. And again, these last 2 years have been so unprecedented. You really wonder where it's going to go because this is opposite of what we normally have. Right. We have a peak, not a valley, in June, July. We had a valley in January of this year. We had a deficit starting in. So I don't know the trajectory, but we're matching close to 2019 levels, at least supply. So where the next couple months are going to go, I have no idea. But I will guarantee we will have more supply based on what we're looking at right now. It's amazing.
I'm excited in a weird way. Yeah. Well,
are you buying right now?
Well, I want to. I want to buy an investment property, but I'm excited because I bought what I bought. But I'm excited to see, because when you listen to all these different people predict everything, it's like, okay, who's going to be right? Who's like not going to be wrong? But you know what I mean? It's kind of like keeping you on the edge of your seat constantly. Yeah,
and if any agent, like, it's so funny. You should definitely question any agent that you approach or anybody related to housing. If you're selling your house and then you go up to an agent and say, is it the best time to sell right now? Oh my God, yes, it's the best time to sell right now. And then you go up to the same agent with a different person. Is it the best time to buy? Oh yeah, absolutely, it's the best time to buy. Like, well, what kind of message are you getting?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the truth is nobody really knows. Yeah. You can only base it on historics, and based on the historics that we have in front of us, I really don't know where we're going. I'm very hopeful that the house, because I have a condo too, that both properties that I have will sustain their equity and sustain their value. But I have a feeling that we're going to dip a little bit. I just don't know how far of a dip, and that's just a normal market cycle. She likes to dip a lot. You should have seen her last Thursday.
Oh,
she was dipping a lot.
Get down.
You had like a J-Lo dress on last
I did, and you guys missed it because you didn't come to the after thing.
Should I pull it up? Hold on, let me see if I can.
I don't know.
I mean, you know what? I might have it somewhere. Hold on.
But we went out to this little like dive bar and played pool, and they had a DJ there, and he was playing salsa music, and our photographer from actually my wedding, he was there too, and he was showing me how to salsa dance, and everyone started like salsa dancing, and it was so cool because it's just a little hole in the wall place, and I don't know, it was awesome.
My turn.
See, he's got like the Sofia Vergara J-Lo dress on.
All right, one more.
It's so fun.
We get off of there. So anyway, that's it. That's the end of the show, man.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, was that pretty much it?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest thing is I don't think we should be afraid. I feel that there's no reason to panic. Just do what you feel like in your gut is right. And I, like you said, to echo you, there's no bad time to buy an asset such as a property.
Especially if you leverage off of it. It's just like, does it make sense for you at the time? I mean, there's always shit that happens in this environment. There's always uncertainty, and it depends on which news channel you watch. That'll be more uncertain.
Turn off the news.
Yeah, that's another thing. Stop listening to people. If it makes sense to you and you believe you're in an industry that's going to surpass all this crazy stuff, then you just go for it. You just never know, and you only live once. And I don't want to say I'm a YOLO type of person, but at the same time, it's like, I am so much in my life right now to have experiences and to be at where I'm at. I'm pretty excited. I don't know where tomorrow's going to be, but I can't think of that. I have to keep building today.
No loathing.
No loathing. This is Faith and Loathing in Phoenix, Arizona. So I want to appreciate all you guys for tuning in this week and every week, every Monday here at Monday Market 15 with Miss Ashley Perkins, formerly Miss Miller. I'm still getting used to that.
Yeah.
And Rob Morales, our Sarah Network. We'll catch you guys here every Monday. I would say 2 o'clock, but whatever. We just go with the flow.
Ish.
So we'll see you guys next week.
See you.